all of us are located. And then we have an office in Miami and another one in Silicon Valley. We help a lot of companies from Barcelona, from Catalonia, do business here in the US. So definitely to better understand a company like yours, it's going to be a good way for us to partner and to help our clients in the future.
Thank you. Very briefly, I don't know if you all saw that message. We're recording this in case anyone couldn't make it. So we'll be able to send that. We'll probably put it on YouTube with the password for later. Thank you, Carly, for recording. Marina?
Marina is not here. Marina?
Yeah, I'm here, Robert.
Oh, okay. Hi, Marina. Sorry, I was
no problem.
making calls and I didn't realize.
It's a lot of people. No problem. Hi all. I'm actually only an observant today. I'm part of Fashion Lab Agency. We are a consultancy and showroom company based in New York. And I'm partnering with Robert and Axio in this project just to give some support to these fantastic brands in the commercial side.
And where are you based?
In New York.
Well, let's have coffee soon.
Perfect.
Who's next? Judith, do we hear from you?
Yes, I'm Judith Sendra, and I work with Robert, Jay, and Sergi in the New York office, Catalonia Trade and Investment, and I am the innovation manager.
Great.
Thank you. Who's next? Who hasn't gone here?
Ana Olga, maybe Cristina Amigo. My name is Leire. I'm in Barcelona. I work for Catalonia Trade and Investment, but we are based in Barcelona. And I'm the senior consultant for the life sciences and beauty sectors, and I'm coordinating this program in USA and also in Germany.
Great. Christina?
I'm Cristina. I work also with Sergi, Robert, Jay, and Judith, but I'm based in Barcelona. I just coordinate the activities of Axio offices in the United States and Mexico.
Great. Olga?
Hello, I'm Olga. I'm a manager of Tigo, and I'm based in Barcelona.
The connection not very good. Olga?
Yeah.
You hear me?
Broke up a little bit.
Yeah, Olga, we cannot see you, Olga.
Yeah, because I have some problem with the cam. I will connect, guys. Just a second.
No, we can understand you.
Maybe you want to leave the meeting and connect again to see if the
I think
sound works better.
She left, yeah.
She left and probably she's going to come in again.
Yeah. Maybe Susana, you can be the next one.
Okay, hello, I'm Susana Avellan from Alice Bronte. I'm the export manager of Alice Bronte, and the company is located in Murcia, but I'm based in Barcelona.
Thank you. Jordi, I think you introduced yourself before as we got started, so I know who you are. Thank you very much. Who did I miss?
I think that's all right. Let's
That's
see if Olga can connect again and we can have a better sound. So as we mentioned during our conversation a couple of weeks ago, we created this project to help Alice Bronte, Kinwell, and Toscani define their strategy for the US market. This is a huge market. There's many manufacturers that want to be in this market, and we think that the right approach is first define the strategy, do market analyze with which Marina will help us, and also experts like you will help us. And we thought that marketing was a key factor, right, to define this strategy. So that's why we're excited to have this conversation with you today. And well, we hope we will learn many things from you.
Well, I appreciate that. Hi, Olga. I apologize again for not speaking Spanish, but it's the British Navy's fault and not mine. But I apologize. So what we're going, it's true, it is the British Navy's fault. So what I'm going to do is go through some slides to talk about us just for context. It's useful to do that. We'll give you a copy of it afterwards, but again, this is being recorded. I will stop in the middle of this twice and show you some data from Google, who is a key partner in all this, and to show you some reports from other clients. What I want out of this is to be useful to you. Of course, I have a business interest. I'd like you to hire me, but that wouldn't happen for months and months and months. And I'll talk a little bit about how our process works for that. So it's worth saying that we are headquartered in New York with a second office in Charlotte. We are at 37 employees. We will end the year at 40. We are selective about who we take on as clients. We have about 50 clients. We do work with Shiseido out of Paris. We do have experience around the world. We'll talk about that. We work with Jacuzzi, a global brand, but the vast majority of our clients are founder-led, direct-to-consumer brands. Usually the founder is still involved. Maybe the founder just took some outside equity in, but so we work with big global corporations, but most of our clients are under $30 million a year in revenues, and they're trying to go direct to consumer in a big way. And we've been doing it since 2008. So that's us as a thing. We're going to talk about the Google Premier Partner and the Meta Business Partner for a second. So you don't have to hire us. I hope you do, but you don't have to. What you should do is hire someone who's a Google Premier Partner, which is different than a Google Partner. Google has designations on who is a Premier Partner, and they rank us and they give us a report card. And we have to have a certain percentage of our staff trained with Google. We have to retain clients at a certain percentage. We have to grow clients. And so it is a big deal that we're a Premier Partner, and it helps you. And we'll talk about how it helps you. It's about you. So the services we offer are media buying. That means buying advertising digitally. That's planning, that's search, that's social, that's TV, that's programmatic. And if anyone has any questions, please stop and ask me. The media buying part of it is I would say it's more than 50% of our business. Search engine optimization is more important than ever. That's showing up in the organic rankings on Google. That's more important than ever because Facebook is doing worse as an advertising platform than it has in the last 7 years. And so you need to diversify your advertising mix. Our SEO clients are very happy with us. Conversion rate optimization, reporting, and then email marketing. To me, email marketing is we have a whole email marketing team. Email marketing to me is the forgotten winner of internet marketing. If you're not actively building your email file and working on extracting revenue from your email, from your existing customers, you will be missing out. Everyone says they're doing it, but we have an email team that will help people audit and see, here's what you're doing versus the competition. And then creative, because people want to be able to work with one agency to make their ads and to build their websites and things like that. So these are the categories that we work in. And then we try to tie it all together with an integrated strategy. So some clients hire us just for media, some clients hire us for media and SEO, some clients, more and more clients hire us for everything. And our job is then to bring those teams together to work with clients as an extension of the team. Any questions about these things, these items? Okay. I want to talk about our partnerships and the support. So because we are a Premier Partner, we can get issues resolved more quickly. We have a client in Italy, Aredi Pisano, whose name I'm sure I'm mispronouncing. They sell men's suits, and they have issues sometimes with their Italian website versus their United States website. And because we're a Google Premier Partner, we can prioritize the resolution of those issues. We have the resources from these partners to work with you, and we can get executive experiences. So my understanding is that you might come to the States in sometime in June or something like that to do some more market research. At that time, we could get you a meeting with Google, because what I find helpful is you might be saying, Jordi, you might be saying to the people at your company, I know you're new, look, we need to invest in the United States market. It's 30 times bigger than Spain. We need to go after it. And you can say that. And then I can say it too. And then when Google says it as well, and we're at the Google offices, and all three of us are saying it, we find that executives tend to listen to that and absorb that much more strongly, right? Because it's one unified push of the agency, the client, and Google, or Facebook, Meta now, talking about it. So so we work with, these are some of the brands we work with now. Dagny Dover, Clove is an amazing story. G-Shock, again, we'll give you a copy of this and we can give references to these people, but these are our clients, and we like to keep samples of our clients' work on the desk in front of us. So we've got all these people's products are right underneath the monitor we're talking to them. So these are the kind of clients that we work with, emerging direct-to-consumer brands that are trying to grow. We do some work with Walgreens and Shiseido, but again, most of our clients are jewelry, fashion, purses, dresses, intimates, things like that. So I want to talk about what for a second about what we can get as a premier partner. So we can get Google data, and this is for lingerie. Has anyone seen this chart before from Google? The way we like to think about Google, but most people like to advertise on Instagram because it's exciting and it's sexy and you can show your product in a beautiful way. Google is where you will make more of your money, and you need to be in both places. The way we think about Google is it's a database of what people actually want. If you wanted to know what humanity really wanted, you would not look at Instagram, because that's what people say they wish they looked like. If you really wanted to know what people really are interested in, you would look at Google's search data, and then you would learn what humanity as the global society really wanted to know, right? So this is data from Google that talks about demand over the course of a year. Darker is more, lighter is less, and this is for lingerie. So what this means is that the peak of demand for lingerie in the United States is in December. Your company might be different, someone else's company might be different. We're not saying that other people can have variations, but according to Google's data, the most searches are in December, where that darkest query tan thing is in the top right with the arrow going up, right? The cost per click, what you pay to advertise on Google, is also lowest in December. And this, I'll show you someone else's in a second, but this is for lingerie. So the cost per click is highest in September when demand is lowest. So why is this? There's a few different reasons. Part of this is Victoria's Secret in the United States drives these trends by doing huge sales, and that is a true statement. But for lingerie, what happens is you guys might have a budget for the year that says, we want the United States to be incremental revenue. We're doing $10 million a year in Spain. We'd like to do $10 million a year in the United States, and we'd like to get there in 3 years. And we have a graph that shows our sales are going to go up. That might be a conversation you would have, right? One of the things that we have to do as your partner is say, well, the graph isn't going to go straight up. The graph is going to go up and it's going to go down. It's going to go up and it's going to go down because fewer people are looking for the product of lingerie in September. And what happens is clients say, I don't care about demand. I have results that my board is expecting. They're expecting a chart that goes up and to the right for sales. And so I need you to get me more advertising. And if there are fewer people looking for a product in September, and everyone's still advertising, the cost will go up because of basic economics. So we don't think this means people should stop advertising in September. This means we think people should go to Instagram and Facebook to introduce consumers to their brand when there's not demand on Google, right? People aren't searching for women's intimates in September on Google. We can spend that money instead introducing people to the brand so they know about it, so that in December, when they are searching for things, they know about the brand. You cannot search for a brand if you don't know what it is. You can't search for Mace Interactive unless you know what it is. You can't search for Toscani unless you know what it is. You can't, right? So what we would do is spend time in a real media plan coming up with the client and saying, let's take a look at where these trends are. And again, we can get this for any industry because we're Google Premier partners. And we put together a plan that would say, we're not going to go straight up and to the right through the year. We're going to go up and down to hit your goals. And we're going to look at the year as a whole. We can look at this same data by week, which to me is a little crazy, but we can look at it by week and we can see that Mondays and Saturdays and Sundays have the highest cost per click. Thursday has the lowest. We can look at trends over time. So this is just, does this, I see you all looking in, is this, by the way, I cannot give you a copy of this. I cannot stop you from taking a screenshot of this. But this is data that we get directly from Google, and this is for lingerie. Does anyone have any questions about this before I show you an example for bags, just to show you how it's different? Okay, so here's a British brand. They sell, this British brand sells $2,000 briefcases. They were featured in the last James Bond movie. Ana de Armas gave Daniel Craig his suit for the mission in one of their pieces of luggage. So what we see for this client is the demand is different. Their peak is in December, same as lingerie, but their lowest point is in April. Right? So everyone's different. And so each of the three brands that are here, I would want to get this same data for each of them to be able to see what the other, how it's different and how it's unique. The other thing we'd want to look at is, let me just find this, is spend data. So Google will not tell you what a competitor spent, right? They won't do that. They won't tell one of your competitors what you're spending. But what they will tell you is how much more they're spending than you. So this is Bennett Winch is the company we're talking about. They're a British company. They're in blue. And in yellow is one of their competitors. I won't name them. And it says that they're spending 100. So what Google will do is say, this here at 100 is the most. So if this company is spending, if you were this red company and you know that you're spending $1 and you know that they're spending 100, you can triangulate how much more they're spending than you to get market research, right? So again, Google will never tell you what someone else is spending. They will not tell anyone else what you are spending, but we can use data like this to see what people are doing. And again, this is very compelling if you're trying to make a case to someone who controls the budgets at your company, right? Like, this isn't what I think you should spend. This is what the other people are spending. And so if you know you're spending $1 and you're 10, and Google says the competitor's spending 100, you know that that's 10 times more than your 100 is 10 times more than your 10. So you can do the math on what they're spending, right? So this is super valuable information. And sometimes this information tells us, give up, don't bother. The competitors are spending so much more than us. There's no way I'm going to get my board to give me $10 million, give up. Sometimes this information is very helpful because it says, instead, let's pivot to social. Sometimes this data says, it's great. I can totally get from my board of directors the amount of money I need to compete. Every client is unique and different, but this data is the kind of data that we get from Google as premier partners. I'll show you one more. It's for women's clothing, and then I'll stop showing these slides. These are you can see on the left-hand side of my screen. There's a lot of information in here we get from Google. This is women's clothing. It's different for bras. It's different for underwear. It's different for bags. Women's clothing as a whole in the United States has its biggest season in November. That is not surprising. Black Friday is a big cultural event here, and everyone buys all of their products in November and December. But if I were running a women's clothing company and I saw that the demand was highest in March, now I would be thinking about how do I sell spring clothing as it gets warmer out to women that want to look good now that society is opening up again and we're all going out again. I don't know how it is in Spain, but in New York we're open, and I'd be thinking about how do I take advantage of the seasonal data to get in front of my consumers instead of putting all of my focus on Black Friday, right? So this is the kind, again, this isn't for you, for any of you necessarily, but we can get this for skincare, we can get this for anything. And this becomes part of our planning process. And it becomes part of what we want to talk about with clients. So that is the value of working with a premier partner at Google, is that data. And a regular partner can't get it, and someone who's not a partner can't get it. And it's very valuable to you and to anyone to have that data. So like I said earlier, you don't have to hire us, but you should hire a premier partner. And it's a red badge. And it's a big deal to get the red badge on your website from Google. It means that you can.
Well, the new one actually says 2022. We're given this badge
yearly.
Yeah, every year we have to, jump through hoops. We need to, work very hard to get this partnership.
And so according to Google, if you're a premier partner, you're in the top 3% of agencies in the country. So I don't want to lie. Most of our clients are in the United States. Most of our clients are in New York and Los Angeles. We actually have a lot of clients in Chicago. I was in Chicago all of last week, but we have clients in the UK. We have clients in the Netherlands. We have clients in France. We have clients in Italy, and we have clients in Australia. We used to have clients all across the Pacific Northwest, but the Far East. But I don't want to lie. Our expertise is in the United States. But we do have global clients we work with specifically because they hire us because they want to break into the US market, right? So we do have clients in the UK for that. I anticipate, my hope, to open an office in London in a few years, because I think that will give us access to more, I understand about Brexit, but that will give us access to more European businesses. And that's where I would like to drive my company in the future, is to talk more to people that are overseas, because I think it's more exciting. So that's a little bit about us. That's what a premier partner is. Our approach is a little different. I can go through these slides, but I think it's important to talk about. Well, if our sales process is, if you were to call us out of the blue and Robert didn't introduce us, the first conversation would be, hi, how are you? What do you sell? The second conversation would be an audit, not of your marketing, but of what your competitors are doing. So if you tell us that you're a nursing shoe company and you're competing against 4 other nursing shoe companies, we would do research on what they're doing that's different than you, to see how much you need to spend and how you can be strategic to beat them. So I don't have that data for you guys. I'm happy to do that. That's another conversation, right? That's a conversation where we sit down and we audit and we spend time one-on-one, and Ashley and Carly and I spend time with you. And we don't charge for that, going over what everyone else in your space is doing. And we use that Google data and we use some Facebook data, and we come back and we say, here is the audit of what you've got going on. Only once we do that do we move to a place where we give you solutions for your unique business. It would be irresponsible for me to suggest that I know what Tuscany needs without first spending time looking at what Tuscany is doing and their competition is doing. It would be like a doctor diagnosing a patient, giving a surgery on a patient without diagnosing them first, right? And you may know what you need, right? You may all know exactly what you need, but I don't know what you need. And if we don't have agreement on what you need, we're not going to be successful working together. So our process is to have a conversation where we learn about you, then we do some research, and then we give a solution. But our approach to paid media, which again is 50% of our business, is to blend our media spend for our clients between pull advertising, Google, I'm interested in something, I type it in, I pull that information to me, and push advertising. Our average client is spending about 50 cents of every dollar on social, about 40 cents on search, and about 10% on new platforms. I wish that were more. I wish it were 20% on new platforms. I don't want to advertise on Facebook. I don't like Facebook. It works very well, but as the morals of the company, I don't want my clients to be having all of their money in one platform. So I want to diversify my clients' platforms across different places. I don't know that Roku or Taboola or Snap or TikTok is right for you, right? And no one's going to know until we try it. But this is our average client of our 50 plus clients. It's about 50 cents is social, about 40 cents is search, and about 10% is new things. The challenge is to deal with Apple's iOS 14 updates. I'm going to assume everyone knows what happened with iOS 14 in March of 2021. No? Okay. The reason that Instagram and Facebook work very well as advertising is that they have a profile of me as a consumer. And they have a profile of me as a consumer. I play a lot of guitar. And the reason they know that I like guitar is not because they're listening to me play guitar, but it's because on my phone, I'm engaging with guitar apps, right? I'm looking at buying new amplifiers. I'm looking at rental spaces. I'm looking at scales. I'm looking at all sorts of guitar stuff. And Apple was passing that data back from iPhones to advertisers like Facebook. Apple is no longer passing that data back to Facebook. So we can still target that I'm 46 years old. We can still target my income. We can still target Brooklyn. There's other ways to target my interests, but that specific tool of passing data back from Apple, from iPhones, which are wealthy consumers, to Facebook and Instagram for advertising, that was turned off in March of 2021 by Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple. He says it's for privacy. I don't believe him. I think it's for money. But for whatever reason that he chose, that happened, that Apple update, iOS 14, happened last year, and it diminished the effectiveness of Facebook advertising. It doesn't mean it's not worth it. It doesn't mean you should avoid Facebook. It doesn't mean you should not be spending on Instagram. It means that you have to approach it differently because it is a different advertising platform than it was before. We talk about 50 cents of every dollar. 2 years ago, 70 cents of every dollar was on Facebook. And now it's 50, 40, 10, right? Because it's our job to push clients to get into different places. So this is a real challenge that we have to deal with. And we need to be diversifying our media mix. We love TV for people. The old way of looking at TV was to buy the network or the channel. The new way of buying TV is to buy the person. So during COVID lockdown in New York, my wife and I watched a lot of Roku. We watched a lot of Netflix. We watched a lot of HBO. And my car was about to come off of its lease, and I was targeted for new cars that cost a little more than my car. They knew I was coming off my lease, and they were targeting me, whether I was watching a cooking show or a drama or a romantic movie or an action movie. In the past, the way they would have targeted TV was to show, I don't know, on some manly show because I had a big American truck. So in the past, they would have tried to sell me was to buy some big American show, like I don't even know what, some cowboy show or something like that. But now they can target the person, not the show. And this is valuable for you, right? So if we knew that you wanted to reach a consumer that was traveling to Valencia and lived in New York and wanted a certain kind of makeup, we can find those people and we can target them on TV, on their connected TVs, wherever they are, even if they're watching Star Trek or the nightly news. So this is important. This is an important way of diversifying, not abandoning Facebook, but diversifying out of Facebook and into other places. And we're pushing all of our clients into this. SEO, search engine optimization. Again, this used to be the biggest part of our business. It is not. It is growing. This is organic traffic. I will tell you that our client. I won't. I was going to show you an example, but I won't. But I will tell you that SEO is the key. You would rather not buy advertising ever again. You would rather have your website just perform organically and drive you traffic. If you have to buy advertising, you're okay doing it, but you'd rather not. You would rather get your traffic from your website. The way you do that is to focus heavily on search engine optimization. It costs something, but it's part of the services we offer. And again, it's diversifying after iOS 14, and then email and SMS. I'll talk about this a lot if we talk individually, but people need to be focusing on their email and their SMS lists. I know that SMS is not as popular in Europe as it is in the United States. In the United States, people don't use WhatsApp, they use text messages. And using text messages to drive sales is a key part of your strategy. We send something like 10 million emails a week for our clients. and email means email and SMS, and it is a key part of growing your business. We need to be engaging with your consumers wherever they are, and that means on their phones when they're looking at anything else. We need to send them a text message that says, just launched, shop our new colors, Sage. It's our most requested fashion-forward shoe, and it supports each step, and it's a limited edition style. Come check it out. So we do that for this client, Clove. And then creative. We need to be focused on performance creative, but we are not, just so on the same page, we are not going to do a photo shoot for you. We are not going to redesign your brand. What we will do, that's your job. You know your brand better than I do. Our job is to take your existing assets, the last photo shoot you did, and to work with you, with our creative team, to make sure that you can get the most performance from your creative, because we are a performance marketing agency. Our job is to make you money. And the way we're going to do that is to make your ads work for you. So, and I can talk more about that if anyone has any questions, but that's our philosophy on creative. Any questions here as I blabber on?
Yeah, I have one question. Why the people in US don't use WhatsApp or other messengers? Why text messengers?
I don't know. There was an article in the New York Times about this a few months ago, but for whatever reason, it is not a popular way of talking to people. I am on WhatsApp to talk to my family that I mentioned lives in France. They don't want to text me. It could be cross-country fees. I don't know, but culturally, Americans don't use WhatsApp unless their family lives elsewhere.
I will say, sorry, from my experience, it more has to do with how you buy your cell phone, your cellular plan. It's less expensive, I would say, overall in the US to buy like a standard cellular data plan versus in Europe.
Also, I think the United States,
between countries too.
I think the United States is behind infrastructure-wise on some technological things from Europe. We're ahead in some things, we're behind in some things, and I think some of our infrastructure digitally is behind a little bit. I don't know why, but we do, and it's okay. It's part of a solution to get new customers. If you want to make more money today, send an email to your database asking them to buy your product. You will make more money, and we can work in that with people. And there's all sorts of things there, like abandoned carts. That means I went to the shopping cart, I left, I didn't buy. Most people don't buy. Now I can send an email or a text message that says, why didn't you buy? Get 10% off. And if I still don't buy, I can send an email in 10 days saying, why didn't you buy? Get 10% off and free socks, right? So there's a strategy behind this to driving revenue from your existing customers. Your existing customers are the ones that will have your highest average order value. You can get more sales out of them if your product is any good. It is a real focus of things. So that's creative. Account structure and workflow briefly. We think about our work with clients as being about layers of complexity. We need to have an overall channel approach. We need to align on your goals. If you talk to Ashley and Carly and I one-on-one later on, we're going to ask you about your goals. We talked about Dagny Dover earlier. They're a client of ours. They sell bags. They're really fantastic bags. You should check them out. I know exactly how many medium black leather totes Dagny wants to sell each day for the rest of the year. Those are goals. More is not a goal. So if a client says, if we say to a client, what are your goals? And they say more, that is much more difficult to work with than a client who says, I want to grow by 10x every month for the next 2 years, or I want to sell this many of this product, or right, there's all sorts of different things, but we really want to align on goals with someone, because if we don't have goals that we agree on together, we're not going to hit them. We need to have a goal. So we want to be aligned on your goals as a partner. We want to be part of your long-term growth. We want to diversify your media mix and give you creative insights along the way and give data hygiene. I should talk about Dagny for a second, briefly, just for a second about this, because if I could give everyone references to Dagny, but Dagny Dover, who is a great client, who we love, is managed by 3 women who worked on Wall Street and decided to create not the nicest bag you'll ever own, but the best bag. And what they had were bags for going out, but they didn't have one bag that was everything. So they designed a bag, and the original product, it's this. You can take it to yoga in the morning. You can take it to work at Goldman Sachs in the day, and you can take it out at night afterwards. And again, not the nicest bag you've ever owned, but the best bag because it will take you everywhere. This is Dagny Dover. Dagny Dover is still led by the three women that started the company, and one of those women is the creative director. She believes that the way to introduce the product to people, and she might be right about this, is crossbody model shots in Soho. So when she does a campaign, the creative director, who's an owner of the company, is going to do lots of pictures of beautiful people, men and women, walking across beautiful streets in Lower Manhattan looking great. And that is cool. That is a good way to introduce the brand. But this picture is what sells the product. This picture, because their bags are organized better, and you can take it with you all day, this picture drives sales. So it's our job not to tell, we don't tell the creative director what to do when she does her photo shoots. That's her job. She has the vision for the brand. Our job is to give her data that says, we understand the crossbody shots are beautiful, but we need to do some promotions to get your product out there. Can we please have some top-down product shots of people using the bag, right? And her view as a creative person is, well, I don't really want to do that. I'd much rather have a picture of beautiful models in Utah in the mountains. And I understand that. And then we have to beg her and say, but the data shows we need some top-down shots, right? And so that's how we work with clients in creative, is to say, is to use data to say to the client, we understand you have a campaign and we understand your brand is first, but we need to talk to you about how we're going to sell the most products. So can we please also use data to drive the creative decisions? And I mean that with all of my heart. I want to go back to this for a second, and then I'm going to show a few more slides, and then some reports. So it's about layering and complexity, and you don't need to hear about this. Cross-agency collaboration. Some of you are going to have agencies in Catalonia or in Europe as a larger entity or in-house capabilities. Our job is to work with other agency partners. There are people that do things better than we do. People do outdoor campaigns better than we do. People do a lot of things better than we do, but we do what we do very well. And so our job is to work across agencies with collaboration and with you to drive your sales. Craig Boland, Strong Roots, is a British company that hired us to help them get into the United States. And we measure success by looking at reporting, and we have custom reporting for each client. I'm going to show you some reports in a second. So how many of you are on Shopify? Okay. People are, what are you on? What do you guys use as an e-commerce platform?
Well, depends. In e-commerce platform, like mainly Amazon or some other websites local. It depends on a country. Okay. Because there are some platforms for several countries, like for the Baltic countries, for example, or for the Eastern Europe, like Makeup PL or Makeup UA. It's mainly, it's a good platform for the Eastern Europe. Sure. But the Amazon, for example, not in CIS, for example, the Amazon is not, there is no Amazon in CIS, for example, so it depends.
Right.
In our companies here in Europe, I use Shopify. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. So what we'll find over time is that if we're going to have a discussion, we need to talk about a source of truth. Your Shopify may say that you sold 10,000 units. Your Amazon account may say you sold 9,000 units. Your Google Analytics may say you sold 999 units. And they're all going to be a little different. I think we all understand that as business people. My QuickBooks account that my accountant goes over with me is different than what my bank account says. And I have to choose at some point what I want to be a source of truth, right? And so when we work with someone, we have to choose a source of truth to work on. And in the interest of time, I want to jump to the way we report things for clients. Let's see here. I'm going to open these up. I assume we have about 10 minutes left, and I'm going to breeze through this stuff. Let's see here. Don't allow. Here.
Brooke, I have a quick question in terms of platform, actually. For these brands who most likely have their own websites in Europe, like what would be the recommendation to open their e-commerce site in the US? Would it be through a geo-targeting software, or like what is from your experience with working with foreign brands?
Sure. The first thing we need is a site that is in English. We have at Mason Spanish, Polish, French native speakers, Italian as well, right? The first thing is a website that's in English, and I sound silly saying that, but you need to have someone who's a native English speaker go over that website. It should direct to a different website for tax reasons, and I think Robert has is going to introduce you to people that, oh look, there's the dog. Robert's going to introduce you to people that can talk about tax structures. But the first thing is to make sure the website's in English, and the second thing is to have goals for that country. We're going to keep talking about goals. So I think before we launch anything, we should have a plan for the year about what we want our goals to be, and we can work with you on that. We can help you. We can sit with you, and we can say, as part of our sales process, we can say, your goals are realistic. We think we can do that. Your goals are not realistic. We can't do that. Right, that's part of our job is to work. I want clients to work with us for years, and that means they need to be happy with us, and that means we need to agree up front on goals. So the number one thing we're going to say again and again is specific goals for going forward. We don't need to be like Dagny Dover with, I need this many mediums on this day, but it helps a lot. And one of the big differences for us between successful clients and unsuccessful clients, our successful clients have better, stronger goals. Again, it can be units, it can be profit margin, it can be growth targets, but it's aligning on goals to the United States. And then you have to geo-target it because this country is so massive. You have to geo-target it based on where your product is, and then seasonally. I think we all know that the United States is very big. And so, and there are cultural differences between Texas and North Carolina and Los Angeles in the United States. And so we would work with you to geo-target to find the right place for your product. Different neighborhoods and different places sell differently. And I can talk more about that with you one-on-one. This is a clean beauty brand. This is a report from an actual client. I won't tell you who they are, but this client, it's for, we give our dates differently here in the States, but it's October 1st to October 31st of 2020. It's an old sample report. This client spent $17,883 US on Pinterest, Facebook, and Google. They made $43,000, and if I divide my spend by my revenue, I get a customer acquisition cost of $33. Your customer acquisition cost may be much higher. It may be much lower, right? Some clients look at this and they say, whoa, I don't want to work with Mason. My customer acquisition cost has to be $5. Every client's different. For this client, they want to be around $30, between $30 and $35. And their return on investment is 142%, which is not great. This client is a happy client. It's a clean beauty brand. And what they want to do is to break even on their first sale, right? All they want to do is break even on their first sale. And with cost of goods sold, if they spend $1 and they make $1.42, they're pretty close to breaking even. All they want to do is break even or not lose much money on their first customer. And then they send emails to those customers later saying, get a subscription, get this beautiful clean beauty product sent to your door every month for a reduced fee. So this report is not about this client's business as a whole. This report is about this client's, this clean beauty brand's media report about new customer acquisitions. So I don't want anyone to look at this and say, well, I need to be at 4. Okay, great. We have clients that are at a 6 return on ad spend, and I'll show you that in a minute. But this client specifically, and this is you would know this brand if I told you them. This client has a successful business in stores in the United States. They're in Sephora, they're in Saks Fifth Avenue. You would know this brand, but their emerging direct-to-consumer business is very different. And all they want to do is break even so that they can convert that person into a long-term customer to work with them forever. I'm going to show you one more here real quick.
This is an automatical dashboard.
Yes.
And I guess that maybe it goes through an API with the CRM and also with the Google Ads Manager and the Facebook Business Manager.
Yes.
With all this information. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. These are, so we have a reporting team at Mason. The reporting team is newish, and their job is to work with clients to the report that works for you. What I will say also is any client that's spending at scale, we have clients that spend $3 million a month. We have clients that spend $5,000 a month. Obviously, the client that spend 3 million, we spend more time with. But we spend the right amount of time with the smaller guys. All of our big clients started as small clients. That's how Mason works. We do some work with big companies, but all the big companies started as small clients with us. And we'll work on a report with you that works for you. Everyone's report is different. So this is another report for another client. There's a little formatting error, but this client sold sold their business and exited to ClassPass. But so this client, I shared this with you guys. Again, not that this is the right report for you, but this client is in Singapore, Dubai, Hong Kong, Bangkok, Manila, Kuala Lumpur, Jakarta, Abu Dhabi, Seoul, Shanghai, and Beijing. And they want to know that their business, it's a fitness company. And the way I'm going to touch your phone. Yep. The way you become a customer of theirs is you install the app on your phone first. Again, different for you, right? You're not an app install company, anyone here, but I want to show you different examples to prove that we can sort of talk about it. So the first thing you do is download the app. The second thing you do is create an account. And the third thing you do is pay with your credit card to become a customer. So this client wants to track app installs, and they want to know that Singapore had 614 app installs. And they want to know how many of those people purchased. And they want to track cost per registration, cost per app install, and cost per purchase. And they want to look at it by Jakarta and Kuala Lumpur and Manila. Do I think you want to look at Manila app installs? I do not. Do I think you might want a report that talks about what New York City did versus Chicago? I do. I think you might want a report that comes out and says, well, we do more in Los Angeles than New York. Let's talk about why. And so I show you this client's report just to illustrate to you how it works for them. So yes, it's APIs. I'm going to do one more, and then we'll be at time. You don't want me to show the big one.
I just don't know. Maybe we can open up for questions.
Yeah, I'm gonna show one more real quick, and then.
Lots of different conversations.
So this client spent $90,000 to make $714,000 and has a 687% return on investment. This is a happy client. The other client I showed you that spent 10 to make 40, or that had a 1.4 return on investment, is also happy, right? But they're different kinds of clients. Obviously, a client spending $90,000 a month is going to have different goals than a client that spends $10,000 a month. And they're going to be more diversified and be in more places. And so I show this to you not because I think you should be spending $1 million or 90,000, or that you care about Kuala Lumpur, or that a good return on ad spend is 1, or a good return on investment is 687. I show this to you because all of our clients have different goals, and their goals are not your goals, which is why when we talk about what we want to do, our first question is always going to be, what are your goals, right? Because those are all happy clients with very different goals. And if I gave one of those clients the other client's report, they would fire me in 1 second, right? But they all have different goals. So I hope that's useful. We're coming up in time here. I hope that's useful. Our goal today was, again, to meet you guys, tell you about us and who we are. 35 people, 50 clients, emerging direct-to-consumer brands, most of the United States, but with some clients overseas. The long-term plan is to open an office in London to get more overseas clients. I'd like to do that when my son goes to college in 4 years. And we work with emerging D2C brands to help them sell their products. We're a premier partner of Google, and our process is to talk to people individually about who their competition is, to do an audit of that, and then have a third meeting where we say, based on that audit, here is our solution and our suggestion to grow your brand, and let's align on your goals, and let's sort of align the way of working, and let's make some money together. Robert, did I do a good job?
Thank you so much. It was great. I think you touched many interesting points, and I was thinking actually how to link all what you were mentioning with the rest of the providers or areas, with logistics, with taxation, with the accountants, with transportation, with many things, but that will be for another conversation, I guess.
I think it's a conversation for another day. I'm happy to talk to everyone. Marina, I do want to talk to you too, because I like to have different perspectives. So Ashley and I have to go to another meeting with the French Alliance Institut Français, who's a client of ours. I have to go to that meeting. They have a new CEO I have to meet. But I am more than happy to talk to any of you. I would include Robert as a CC in all those emails, just as a matter of courtesy. It's up to him how that works, but I'd be happy to talk to any of you about your specific business. Ashley and Carly and I would be happy to do, as we described, have a solo conversation with you where we aligned on what your competitors were doing, and then do that report. We don't charge for that. That's our sales process. That's what we do to win your business. And we would do an audit of what the other people you're competing against are doing in the United States and what they're spending. And then we can have a conversation about how to help you. My understanding is you're going to be here in June. June will be in very soon. We have a lovely office in Brooklyn with an outdoor space. We'd love to have you all here and have some coffee and hang out and talk more about it. But in the meantime, I have to go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sounds great. Thank you so much. And
Thank you.
we'll be